Okay, so currently it is side gig freelancer nation out here because we're living in a time where there are so many things that you can do as a freelancer. When I started off almost 5 years ago, I had no system in place to track my income, invoice my clients, pay taxes, any of that. This later ended up hurting me, and I realized that if I had been organized from the very beginning, I would have saved myself a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of trouble later on. So I am here to explain to you why it's so important to get organized, have a system in place, and report your income from the very beginning of your freelancing journey. So one of the most common mistakes that I see freelancers make is that when they're starting off, they think that their income will not be sufficient enough or worthy of reporting. So it's like, okay, well, I'm making a few $100s a week here and there. That's like not enough. Like I probably shouldn't report that. Well, this is where you may be wrong. Sure, it may be like a couple hundred a week, a couple hundred a month, but money adds up quickly. And before you know it, that could very well be like $12,000 a year. Now, let me explain to you why not reporting your income could be hurting you. 1, you're not able to prove your income if the need arises. 2, for this reason, you're not able to get approved for special purchases, just like a mortgage, refinancing, etc. And 3, you may end up owing the government a lot more money. It is very important at any given moment, should the need arise, for you to be able to prove your income. You can't say that you make a certain amount of money, but have no documentation to prove that or back that up. The most common way to prove your income is to show your income tax returns. This little number basically sets the foundation for your life because it is what the government believes that you make, because it is what you are reporting that you make to the government. When you're an employee for a company and you get paid, your taxes are already being deducted off of every paycheck. But when you are a freelancer, you are pocketing your gross income. So here is how that final number on your income tax return is determined as a freelancer. So you start off by taking the total dollar amount that you grossed for that year, and then you subtract your expenses and or deductions. After subtracting, you're then able to see the total amount of money that you made net. But here's where it gets a little bit tricky. In order to avoid that very huge debt to the government at the end of the year, oftentimes it is recommended for freelancers to write a variety of deductions such as miles, business expenses, cost of food if you're going to a business meeting, etc. These deductions then become dollar amounts that get taken off the amount of money that you earned. So the less that you earn, the less taxes that you owe. Oftentimes, people unethically write off excess amount of deductions in order to owe less taxes. However, it is like super important to remember in this case that your deductions actually subtract from the amount of money that you made. So here's an example. Let's say your total gross income for the year was $12,000 as a freelancer, but you wrote off all these deductions that totaled to a dollar amount of, let's say, $11,500. So then your total net income as a freelancer ended up coming out to be just $500. A lot of freelancers opt to not report their income truthfully and instead write as many deductions as possible in order to reduce their debt of taxes to the government. This is exactly where it's hurtful to not be reporting your income correctly. So yes, you may be paying less taxes because after all of the deductions that you wrote off, it turns out that your profit was actually not that much. So there is not that much for the government to tax you on. But in reality, what this is doing is that on paper, it is showing that you are not really profitable as a freelancer. So in order to make sure that you don't face these issues, here are 3 things that I recommend you start doing right now as a freelancer. Number 1, have a structure to track your income. This could be done through Square, Stripe, Honeybook, QuickBooks, etc. I personally use Square. I send electronic invoices to all of my clients. I don't let my clients pay me through like PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, etc. I make all of my clients pay me through one avenue. Number 2, have a structure to track your deductions. And number 3, separate 15 to 20% of every single cent that you make. It's as easy as implementing these 3 things from the very beginning of your freelancing journey. That way, later on, when you're meeting all these numbers, you know that you have your income tracked, your taxes saved up, and your deductions well aligned and organized. So say you have a full-time job and you're making $50,000 a year. Additionally, you're taking some photography gigs to the side, and that totaled up for you to $15,000 within that year. You're looking to buy a home in the future, and you just want to go to a mortgage lender and see how much you would pre-qualify for and see pretty much how much home you can afford. So they're going to ask you for all this documentation, but specifically they're going to want to take a good look at your income tax returns for the last 3 years to be able to see how much money you made. So I pull up your income tax returns and it shows that you made $50,000 in your full-time job, but additionally you made $15,000 as a freelancer taking some photography gigs here and there. You also have about $3,000 worth of deductions that you wrote off in that year. So we take the $15,000, we subtract the $3,000 in deductions, and that totals to $12,000 that you made in that year as a photography freelancer. Now the dollar amount in your income tax return is $50,000 plus $12,000, which totals to $62,000 for that year. So you see how important it was to report those extra $12,000 in your income tax returns. I mean, now you went from making $50,000 to $62,000, and to me, that's a pretty significant difference. So yeah, that was a lot of information. I feel like my brain is a little fried, and I tried to be as concise and to the point as possible. Hopefully you were able to see how important it is to be organized as a freelancer from the very beginning, even if you just have a side gig, even if you think that it's not paying you that much. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications so you can see when I upload a video, because we are still in January, and like I mentioned in my last 2 videos, I'm still on my social media break, so I have no way to currently promote the videos that I am posting. So once again, if you made it to this video without me posting it all over social media, you're a real one. Shout out to you. Thank you. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today. I'll see you guys on the next one. I have a very exciting vlog coming up next.